I'm Cal.
And I'm Stam. And this is the KAST, Cal and Stam Talks.
And I'm the voice of reason.
Always reasonable, man. You know, God bless the voice of reason. We're coming to the end of season 2. Close to the end. And we've had some challenges. Yeah, we've had some challenges along the way. But we're here. And today we want to introduce Jasmin.
Thank you, Stan.
And I'm looking forward to speaking to you.
Me too.
Got
I'm
a lot
really
to
looking
offer
forward.
us. So what's
you.
going on?
So thank you for offering this space, first and foremost. So yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate you reaching out. So my name's Jasmin. I work for local government. So I do lots of different things really. And I've got a career and a historical kind of background in working with vulnerable families and vulnerable children as well. So I'm an educator. I'm trained in counselling. I'm a coach. I've worked with pregnant teenagers, teenage mothers, children in care. So predominantly kind of I come from a background where it's about supporting vulnerable families, vulnerable young people and children, really kind of to equip them with the skills and support that they need to kind of transition through life.
Okay. Really... First and foremost, I want to say you're looking fabulous.
I
noticed the attire. It looks very, very fabulous.
Thank you.
I just had to, and you're matching.
Yeah.
Big up your husband.
Husband, yeah.
He's there.
As well.
Yeah.
Big up. So, right. So, when we initially had a video call, what stood out to me, I think I mentioned this. You said you work in like the early intervention kind of space. Yeah. I myself went through the early intervention service and it was a great help. So I don't know if you want to maybe just start there, what it is, because this platform is about helping people and getting people into get exposing the help that people need, and it's a help that I've received. So maybe did you want to say something, Carl?
Just before even we get into that, I think obviously you're representing We Are Strength. So
Absolutely.
The question is, what is We Are Strength? Just before we get into all of the interventions and stuff like that.
So I created We Are Strength because through my career and the things that I've done, a lot of the things that I've experienced and witnessed, and also gone through personally as well, is that people go through lots of challenges, emotional challenges, and particularly people who look like me and who look like you, so people of colour, right? Yeah. And we don't often reach for the support that we need in order to become emotionally well and to thrive. So what We Are Strength is about really, it's about providing information, it's about encouraging and empowering people to take the steps that they need to become emotionally well and be emotionally well, right? So We Are Strength starts from this basis that we all have what we need inside of us. So we have the resources, we have our body, our physiology is set up that we have most of the things that we need in order to thrive and achieve. So We Are Strength is about, we have that strength, right? Often society and circumstances and life almost kind of disempowers people and makes them feel like that they haven't got what it takes in order to thrive and achieve and be successful. So what We Are Strength is saying is that we do have that. We have the tools, and really what we need to do is be able to tap into that in order to kind of make that successful emotional kind of transition and also to just to kind of show up in life and enjoy the experience of life. So that's what We Are Strength is. It really is, I've created it because I feel like there are services and early intervention support is very Eurocentric, right? So a lot of things that we see is very focused or written in a way which is for a particular audience. So there is a lack of things that look like me and look like you. So for Black people specifically, right? So the mental health services, support services, a lot of that stuff is very Eurocentric. So it doesn't tap into our culture and who we are as people and some of our dynamics. So We Are Strength, when you go on the website, you will see it has got lots of Black imagery on there, examples relating to Black people, because I think when people see themselves, they can relate more to it. When you know, it's just like with children and young people when they're growing up, children tend to do well when they see people who represent them, who look like them. And we aren't no different as adults. When we see people in spaces and doing things and we see us in that space, then we are more inclined to believe that we can do it and that, you know, it reflects us and people are more embracing and accepting of that. So We Are Strength is really about, this is about us and this is a space for us to be able to thrive and develop. And it's not to say that people who are not Black are not included in that. It's just written from a culturally specific lens.
Yeah, okay.
So can you give me an example of something common, a lot, maybe go leading up to the point where you formed We Are Strength? What was a common thing that kind of got, like, really got under your skin or bothered you, where you say it was Eurocentric? And can you give us like a parallel example of something that you've set up to kind of combat that?
Yeah.
It might be a bit of a broad question,
yeah.
but
I suppose
there a common thing?
Yeah, I think there is always. So always as we go about our daily lives, and I'm sure you guys will see it too, is, you know, if you are accessing talking therapy, often the talking therapist is white, sometimes male, so they're not represented. If you speak to people for support, professional support, when you go into that space, it's not often people that look like us. I think the thing that really, really encouraged me is I was seeing a lot and understanding a lot that as people of colour, Black people don't tend to access the support that they need early enough. So you mentioned before kind of like my platform and my principle is about early intervention. So my grandma always used to say to me kind of like prevention is better than cure. And I say that all of the time, right? So, you know, we need to try and prevent ourselves kind of getting unwell, or if we see the signs of becoming unwell emotionally, then what we need to do is do the things now to prevent it from escalating. So I think the thing for me was, there are so many people personally and professionally that I'm seeing and witnessing who are, 1 minute they're okay, and then you can see they're becoming unwell. And at what point do we as a community intervene to kind of put our hands in to stop it from getting worse, and remove some of that stigma that is there as well within our community too? So I think the push for me to do this is, you know, I want to be able to support people to say we all get unwell emotionally. We all experience times in our life when we are low. We will all experience times in our life when we are wobbly and you know, we are struggling to kind of navigate stuff. Don't leave it for it to get worse and worse and worse until you need specialist help and services. There are lots of things that we can do now to kind of prevent that from happening. So I think personally and professionally, I was in that space where I was seeing a lot of people who look like me who are becoming very unwell. And then sometimes in our community, it's kind of like, you know, they're mad or they're whatever, which is such an unhealthy approach. And it stops people from accessing the support that they need or saying, I need help. You know,
they don't want to even be classed as mad or
like an outcast. Also, so in regards to emotionally well and emotionally unwell, so you said people should get the help before it's too late or gets severe. So what would be some things for like the viewers, like signs that you are getting emotionally unwell, just so people can like if you say it now and people are like, oh, do you know what, that does sound a bit like me, so let me go and get the help now before it gets worse. So what would you say are some signs or symptoms of someone getting emotionally unwell?
I think a lot of us will have had this happen. So we wake up and we don't feel in a good mood, or we feel upset and angry or frustrated or anxious, and we don't know what we're upset and anxious and angry about, right? So we think there isn't anything that's happened for us to kind of feel that way. So that ruminating. So when you are kind of keep thinking about the same problem over and over again, and you just keep thinking about, you know, sit there wondering, and when you're not worrying, you're worrying about why you're not worrying, right? So it's kind of like that rumination. The mind is constantly going around worrying about something that actually hasn't reached you yet. You know, it's something that is in the future, it's not even here, or it's something that's gone. So it's something that was in our past, it's not here now, but we are ruminating on it as if it's still here. So we're living in the past, right?
Yeah.
So we're worried about things that have gone or things that aren't even here yet.
Yeah.
So we're not even in that present.
Would that be like anxiety, would you say?
Yeah, anxiousness. I think fear. A lot of us have fear. I know me personally, for example, and I wrote a blog, which is on my, I write a lot. I really enjoy writing. So I wrote an insight on my website, which is around some of the things that I struggle with. So I love to walk. So I find it very therapeutic kind of walking. And that is the way that I get into my creative zone. That is the way that I kind of ground myself and prepare myself. Like walking for me is my thing. I love that.
So let me just jump in. You see, if you're walking, do you have a set schedule for your walking, or do you go by, you know what, I feel a bit off, let me go for a walk, or work was stressful today or this week, let me go for a walk? How do you... with your walking?
There is no particular scheme or plan that I have at all. So I walk when I have the opportunity to walk. Okay. So sometimes I work from home. So if I'm working from home and time permits between meetings, then I'll just go out and I'll just go for a walk around the area. I do yoga. So when I go yoga, I will sometimes finish yoga, and then there's a park not far from where we are, and we will walk. I will walk around there. So it just varies, really. There is no kind of like every morning I'm getting up at 5:00. That as well can cause issues, because but not that in itself. But I think when people put unnecessary demands on themselves, I need to do this at 5:00. I need to do this at 6:00. I need to do this at 7:00. We just need to flow. Sometimes we just need to flow with life. Yeah.
Stuff might happen just out of the ordinary, and then it might knock something back, and then it's like, I'm not going to make that time. Then you start panicking and overthinking, and then before you know it, you're in a downward spiral. Yeah.
Because society, you'll see, you need to start at 4:00 in the morning, start your day at 5:00 in the morning, and then you need to have this morning routine. And then you need to, who says we need to do all of those things?
I'm guilty of that.
Is that a Eurocentric point of view though? Would you class that as Eurocentric, or do you just...
No, I just think that's life. I just think that is life. And particularly now, there is so much information. We are drowning in information, right? We are drowning in information. Yeah. So, depending on what video you watch, what YouTube you watch, what you've got on your feed, it will tell you need to do this and you need to do that. So there's a quote I've been listening to, is a pastor called Omar El-Takori. He's really good. So I've been listening to him, And one of the things he says is that we are drowning in information and starving in wisdom. And I think that is such a pertinent thing. Just because you have all of this information of what you need to do doesn't mean that it's wise. It doesn't mean that it's words of wisdom. You've got to pick the sense from the nonsense, right? You've got to do you. Yeah,
do what works for you, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Someone's day is different to your day. We work the same 24 hours, but we have different stuff to do.
Absolutely. So sometimes I'm up, aren't I, until like 2:00 in the morning. Getting up at 5:00 ain't going to work for me, because I've been up working. I'm quite productive and ideas come to me at night. That's when that happens for me. Yeah. So having a morning routine and getting up at 5:00 in the morning is just not going to fit with me. But if I was a person, going back to your original question about some of the signs, if I listened to some of the things that was out there, I would think, wait a minute, there's something wrong with me then, because, I don't do that, or that doesn't work for me, or I can't follow that. So I think the message for people is that you need to carve out what is right for you in this world. Your life experience, Stam, is your life experience, and yours is yours. There is no right, there is no wrong, there is no best, there isn't, this is your experience of life. This is your world, and you're the CEO of your world. You create it and do with it as you can. But I think there's so much stuff that I've thrown at people. People can't pick the sense from the nonsense. And tomorrow I'm this, next week I'm that. They watch this YouTube video, and then, they're on this health thing. And it can be quite, I think a lot of that sign is, I don't really know who I am. If the wind blows this way, we go that way. If the wind blows that way, we go that way.
Kind of like blind leading the blind a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. There's an element of that too.
I think a lot of people are trying to turn their opinions into facts, I feel, as well, on the internet.
Well, everyone who says something hasn't really got a message. And in this social media era, everyone's just trying to get attention, and everyone's trying to sound clever and sound good.
Yeah.
So it's important to be able to discern and you know, take a lot of things with a pinch of salt, I say.
Yeah.
But what I want to pick up on is the word. What did you? Is it emotional intelligence? Did you say, or did you say emotion? So we always hear mental health, but I noticed that you say emotional. Can you tell us the difference, or because I've never heard anyone lead from that standpoint?
Yeah, they're just words. I think. I think that's the first thing, and I don't want us to get hung up on words. And I think so. We have physical wealth and health, and we have mental health and wealth. You know, our biology, our physical being, and our mental well-being. But part of that mental well-being is emotions. That's what runs things mentally, right? Is how you feel, your emotions, right? So, for example, you may feel angry and be caught up in that anger. That will have an impact on your mental wellness because you are in a state of anger. You may be in a state of fear, paranoia. All of these things are emotions. That's what they are. So so when I refer to emotional wellness, what I'm referring to, it's about understanding where you are emotionally, right? So if I feel frustrated today, I feel really frustrated. I'm acknowledging. There's a saying, it says, "Name it to tame it," right? So I acknowledge that today I feel really frustrated, or I feel really angry at what you've said or what you've did. I'm acknowledging my emotions. Denying your emotions, trying to suppress your emotions. Those are some of the things that can make people become emotionally unwell, right? So when I refer to emotional wellness, it is kind of synonymous with mental wellness as well, mental health. I think the term mental health is used in so many different contexts, particularly clinical contexts. And I'm not a clinician, I'm not a doctor. So I use the term emotional wellness because I think people can connect to that a lot more, and it removes some of that stigma as well.
Just how you broke it down, thank you so much for breaking that down. Because this term mental health, it can almost get a bit, like you said, is that word's linked to like the clinical world. And the average person isn't clinical, you know, like that's a specialist maybe subject that you would have studied. So to just put it in simple terms, you know, you just feeling off in the morning, you just feeling maybe angry or sad. You know, that is helpful to the viewer to know that, you know what, this is maybe mental health, or my mind is feeling, just because I might be feeling not happy or sad. So I think it's important as an identifier for people to know that, because it's not common for people to put it like that. To put that, if I'm feeling off, this is a indicator that I might need to speak to someone or do something to, you know. So it's important.
It makes sense even suppressing it, because when you think about it, you know, like some people always bottle up, and then they just lose it. And that's where probably it even comes from, because you just bottled it up and then you just can't take it anymore. So I totally get that.
Are you aware of kind of the nervous system and how the nervous system works?
I've been talking with a coach and he's been taking me through.
Because I think in terms of the nervous system, and I'm not a scientist by any shape or means, but I love learning and I love reading and I love researching, and I don't take one thing and accept it as the truth. So part of my researching and what I do is I look for lots of different counter arguments to understand things and then form my own opinion. And I think we're not good at that as people neither. As you know, we take what one person says and we take it as gospel and take it as truth without exploring the things ourselves, right? So how the nervous system works is that we have an autonomic nervous system. So that means it's automatic. So our body naturally, our physiology is amazing. So we don't have to do anything for us to physically heal. You know that, right? So if you cut yourself, Stan, your blood clots on its own. It doesn't need you to do anything. So it clots on its own. The skin heals.
Has its own intelligence.
Absolutely. So it's called there's two different systems in the autonomic nervous system. There's a sympathetic system and there's a parasympathetic system, right? So the sympathetic system is around what your body does to protect itself if you are in a state of danger or fear.
Right, or
so
flight.
that's
you get more
exactly what it
adrenaline
is.
when that
Yeah,
happens.
absolutely.
Okay.
So your pupils dilate. So that means it will take in more light because you want to see what the threat is around you. Your heartbeat speeds
so
up.
more blood.
Your blood will rush to different parts of the body,
So you can sharpen up,
so you can
react
run.
a bit, yeah.
So in order to do that, it has to conserve energy in other ways. So your digestive system, for example, that stops. So when you are
hungry.
in fight and flight mode, because to digest takes so much energy, like it takes a lot of energy. So when your sympathetic nervous system is working, your digestion stops. There's certain things that stops. Saliva in your mouth. This is why people say you get dry mouth when you're in fear, because all of that stops. Because what the body is doing is saying, I'm checking out. There's danger here. We need to protect you. So I'm stopping all of the energy going there, and I'm pumping all the energy to your muscles.
Protect myself or get away from danger.
Fight or
Exactly.
flight.
Yeah. We don't have to do anything to enable that to happen. The body is so amazing that happens on its own, right? In a similar vein, we have the parasympathetic nervous system, which works in opposite to the sympathetic. So that balances it, right? So the parasympathetic nervous system is when our heart rate slows down, our pupils kind of constrict. That's telling our body we're safe now. We're all right now. You don't need to worry now. So your digestion starts to kick back in and, the adrenaline kind of comes down. So it works to balance that autonomic nervous system, right?
Yeah.
So I say all of that to say that happens naturally. You don't have to do anything for that to happen. I don't need to do anything to happen. In terms of our physiology, that happens naturally.
Right.
We can use those tools to engage it in order to emotionally heal too, right? So we can use those that happens automatically for our physiology, but it doesn't automatically happen for our emotional wellness. But we can engage it. We can use those tools, right? To also emotionally make ourselves feel better and feel well. So some of the examples might be like what I do. I'm really into meditation and I'm really into yoga. What that does is that provides the cortisol. It reduces the cortisol, the stress.
It activates the parasympathetic.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. Activates and engages the parasympathetic nervous system.
You can actively say, you know what, I'm feeling a bit on edge. Let me counter that by going to do a bit of meditation.
Absolutely,
walk, or whatever, something to just calm.
Bring yourself, calm yourself
Absolutely.
down.
Mindfulness.
Wow. Mindfulness, I got that book, the mindfulness book. Yeah,
Okay, so I'm training in that, right? So I'm very into mindfulness. I'm very into meditation.
Breathing.
I'm very into yoga. I'm not kind of mastering the breathing techniques yet. I'm doing one thing, but that is my thing. Because I think we can do that, pausing and just being with yourself. There is a hypothesis called the biophilia hypothesis, and what that is that is a proven scientifically that being in nature, being outside in nature is good for us. That gives us serotonin, it gives us dopamine, it gives us the happy stuff that we need. So that's not just, people say, why is it that I feel really good when I go for a walk, or why is it whatever? But there is scientific evidence which proves that it's called biophilia hypothesis. That's what it's called, biophilia hypothesis. And those are the things that we need. So what I'm saying is it's there. We just need to know it and engage it and work. Absolutely.
Be aware of ourselves and be aware of...
So it's about being grounded as well, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So because when I go on walks and I see like wildlife, it makes me feel different. Remember, and you laughed at me when I told you I saw the sheep, and you asked if I talked to the sheep. Remember?
You know why though? Because in our group chat, he's always bantering me, he's always winding me up. So I just took the opportunity.
Yeah. So I like going on walks, and it just helps. I think even thoughts around this whole podcast and how it even started, it was from just going on walks, and I just had ideas, and then we all spoke and then put it into practice.
Is that where you get a lot of your good ideas? Cause
just going on walks, literally. I just feel like where we're from, I feel like it's just so enclosed. A lot of pollution. You can't think. There's always a police siren, car, this noise and that, buses. When you go into the woods or in the greenery, you just can you can just lose yourself.
Absolutely.
Literally, you ain't got to think about anything.
Like that environment is more conducive for like more positive thoughts and positive thinking.
Scientifically proven to be.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. That's not just somebody saying it.
You say lose yourself, but you probably find yourself more.
Yeah.
Probably, because I'm so used to, probably I'll probably find myself. Yeah, to be fair.
Sure.
What's the reason? Do you go into nature at all? No, I mean it. I know, like.
I'm outside.
What does it? Man said I'm outside. No, I don't know if that's a good thing. Like.
I'm in nature. I know about nervous systems. I do a lot of all of that practice to just keep yourself calm and balance out and just find your center.
Grounded.
You know what? You know what that makes me think of what you just told me. You know, in the Bible, in the Psalms, it says He makes me lie down in green pastures. I think that's what that means.
We
There's a
came
reason
from
why-
nature.
Okay,
We weren't born in hospitals. Hospitals, we naturally come from a place of nature. That's where we're born from. It's a little bit like the social thing as well. So a lot of people tend to be nowadays, especially when they're emotionally unwell, they get socially isolated. So they want to be on their own, and that's the opposite of what we
how we're
actually
meant to
need.
be.
Yeah. We are
Darkness.
social beings. So there is a time for everything, right? So there are some times that we need to be with ourselves and be kind of get to know who we are and our inner being. And then there are times that we need social connections. There was a study that I looked at a couple of months ago now as part of an assignment that I'd written, and it was talking about our neurons in our brain, and we have mirror neurons, which it acts to mirror what other people do. So basically, what we do naturally is, if you put your hand like that, sometimes we mirror what other people do. And the reason why is because we crave social connection. And they found in this study that when people who are lonely or socially isolated, it activates, so the brain activates the same regions that happens when you're hungry and when you're in pain. So when you are lonely, it activates the same parts of the brain when you're in pain and when you are hungry. So that suggests that being lonely is harmful, right?
Yeah.
Because being in pain is harmful, or being,
we're supposed
hungry
to
is
be around
harmful.
people.
So could that even in turn be why maybe someone's overeating? Because they're lonely. Or they lack connection, or they're maybe just overdoing it with that.
Possibly, yeah. I just think it's really interesting that these are the things that are natural happening in our mind without, in our brains without thinking of it. I think we are social beings, which is probably why so many people struggled during the pandemic, because it cut off social connection. We are social beings. We are all of these things. And I think I want to just kind of counter something. And that is what I'm not saying is when people are acutely unwell, that they've got everything they need inside them to heal. Of course, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah. What I'm saying is that when you can feel yourself becoming unwell, there are things that you can do. And to stop yourself becoming unwell, there are things that you can do. But once you've kind of got past that kind of like moving from early intervention to needing specialist help, that just is what that is. So, it's kind of like, if you are kind of clinically unwell, I'm not saying you can reach for the things inside of you. You need specialist services then.
You need professional help at that
absolutely.
point,
If you fracture your finger, there's nothing much that the doctor is going to be able to do. They'll just wrap it up and say, keep it, and your body will naturally heal it. Right. If you break your leg, they're not going to leave you with a broken leg. They're going to have to, do you see what I mean? So what I'm saying,
at different stages and different levels of emotional injury, shall we put it? There's different things you can do.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. See? I don't want my words to be twisted like, Jasmin said this. No.
See, in regards to stigmas and stereotypes in regards to mental health, what do you think we can do to kind of get rid of them stigmas and stereotypes? So obviously you've worked in a different field. So what do you think is a main one? That what could people do to make it more normalize it instead of people judging? Like you said, when people see people getting unwell, they might just push them to the side. So what do you think it is we can...
I think we have to start from ourselves. I don't think we can control anybody as much as we might like to. There is nothing, Carl, you can do to control me, and there's nothing that I can do to control you. Like the only people we can control is ourselves. That's the only, power we have is within our own self. Unfortunately, we can't make anybody do anything else. So I think it's about starting with yourself and inspecting where you are at. Yeah. So we cannot stop racism. We can have all of these policies in place, but people are still discriminated against, right? Yeah. We have we have policies, which means, I know me, I need to make sure I'm treating people with a disability favourably when they're coming in for interviews. Yep. So all of these policies are there to try and mitigate against discrimination, prejudices and racism. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, because there's always going to be people breaking rules.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't have any control. I think it starts from us. It starts from you, right? So the very fact that you've got this podcast and you're talking about matters pertaining to mental health and emotional well-being is a really good, which is why I was so keen to come on here and happy to come on here, is because you're talking about things that are quite taboo often in our community that people aren't talking about. We're normalizing it, right? We're making it normal. There are lots of things that society is doing, which is normalizing things which I don't think should be normalized, but we're making it normal. So I think
this might be a bit off topic, but you said you've worked with young women and have children and stuff like that. And I'm currently studying, and one of my current assignments is postnatal depression. And I don't really know much about it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the viewers don't, but a lot of us have children and we don't really know about it. Is there anything in a short you can tell the viewers and people in regards to it, what it is? Because when I first saw it, I was like, what's that? So I just wanted to ask about it because I feel that it's something that's just, for men, a lot of men, if you are like Stam, do you know what postnatal depression is?
My understanding is, I'm going to say, once a woman has a baby, her physiology changes, her hormones change due to having the baby, and then sometimes the mother can't connect with the baby or they feel depressed due to the toll of having the baby. That's my guess. Yeah,
and I don't know enough about postnatal depression to speak on postnatal depression, but I would imagine it's like with a lot of depression is, young people going through adolescence and their body is changing, and there's a lot of young people, adolescents, who might kind of do very risk-taking behaviour or become quite low and in the room and isolate themselves. That is part of that. My body's changing, my mind is changing, and I'm having to manage and cope with it. So the honest response is I don't know enough about postnatal depression per se to be able to kind of talk on that.
I don't think we've ever mentioned it.
You want some help with your assignment, basically.
Yeah. No, you know what? I just will reach to ChatGPT. Do you know what? I'll ask ChatGPT and get some information from other places to answer that. But no, I'll just ask him because it's just something that when I came across it, I was thinking, do you know what? It's never been something we've ever spoken about or anything. Yeah, just because I thought, because you mentioned working, but no, that's fine. But go on, Stam. Yeah,
so your service, I want to just make it
plain.
We are strength. We are strength. So on a day-to-day, what does it do? And like how can someone access the help? And what help do you, I know you kind of went through what you do, but how can someone access the help?
So We Are Strength, I've got a website, and on that website I provide lots of insights and information and resources and tools. So that's what's there at the moment. I'm still very new in this, so the site we only came into fruition in January. Awesome. So eventually I would like to kind of move into different spaces. As I said, I'm very into yoga, meditation, mindfulness. So I would like to do stuff around that because I'm a big believer that kind of yoga and meditation and mindfulness is a tool that people can use to support themselves to become emotionally well. Yeah.
You do yoga?
I've done yoga.
Yeah.
Pilates. Damn. Is it? I'm gonna try it. What would you have to just I'm gonna try it.
It's far from a joke, but again, there's a stereotype and it's a taboo for men to do Pilates. So it's like we shy away from it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm gonna try it.
It's really.
Is it?
Yeah. It is.
I might try it.
And there's a book that I read by Van der Kolk, and basically what it's called The Body Keeps the Score. And basically, so when you are emotionally or mentally unwell or you experience trauma, our bodies keep the score. So it's in our bodies. So
it stores it?
Yeah. So
really?
I say it holds it. So, I don't know, if you've ever been through any pain or heartbreak or anything and you feel it in your stomach, you go, ugh. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It's not...
What's that saying? You feel sick to your stomach?
Yeah. So
no appetite.
Nobody's punched you, It's the emotion is physically, and that's quite similar to trauma. So when people go through trauma, that, you know, they often feel it physically in the body. And that's because the brain don't differentiate between physical pain and emotional pain. So sometimes we need to move our body. We need to kind of like, it builds up good kind of, you know, serotonin and dopamine, and kind of our brain waves are different. They said there's some research that was done that says that our cortisol, our front cortisol, thickens as a result of doing yoga and meditation. And because it thickens, what that means is that we're able to have more attention and focus, and we're not easily distracted and dissuaded. And, you know, we are more in tune with ourselves when we've got a thicker cortisol, when, you know, our cognition, our mental
cortisol.
Yeah, so that our brain, our front part of our brain, there was some research that was done that with monks and people who meditate regularly. So their brainwaves are different from people who don't meditate. Serious? And just being able to be, you know, I don't know, you know, I went through a period in my life where it was really hard for me to focus and be attentive about a particular thing. My mind was just always busy and full. Yeah. And through meditating and practicing yoga, it is a lot easier for me to engage my mind and take out the stuff which I think is rubbish and keep the things that I think is right for me. So meditation and yoga is scientifically proven to be really good for people's mental and emotional well-being.
So that's wellness, like what you said, wellness.
Emotional.
And you're also unplugging as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
With me, what you mentioned at the start, you said some people can be stuck in the past. I'm always like, not like actively thinking about the past, but sometimes I just get caught in
PTSD.
something, and then I have to like push myself out of it, kind of thing. So I might even try it. I've done yoga before. You know what I did, like Bikram yoga, the hot one.
My mum does that.
I liked it.
My mum does that.
I do hot yoga.
That's
what I do.
I liked it because it was a challenge to stay for the 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And once I got to the end of the 90 minutes, I thought like, yes, I've done something. And then
how did you feel after?
You feel light, you feel like reset, you feel aligned.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm floating on a cloud. Like I really feel, I can't really explain it properly, but but meditation, I'm yet to I've dabbled in it, but I think, that's something I do want to get into.
Yeah.
What would be a starting point for someone that wants to get into meditation?
So there's lots of meditation apps. I'm not getting any kind of, I've not got any sponsorship. But I use Insight Timer because it's free. And it's free, so you don't have to pay for that. I have a paid version, but the free version is just as good. So guided meditations are really helpful. So kind of like, you know, like sometimes in the morning I'll put on a guided meditation. So I did a guided meditation before I came here. I'll have when I'm walking, I'll have walking meditation. So I put my headphones on and do a walking meditation, which is about visualization or, you know, things like that. So I would start with kind of Insight Timer or something like that. Or just Google kind of like, you know, free beginner's guide to meditating. Yeah.
I'm gonna try it.
I'm gonna try
Honestly,
it.
Yeah.
I'm always up really early. I naturally wake up at like 4 a.m. and I'm just lying. I don't know what to do. Like
meditate.
Are you aware of shadow work?
Yeah. So yes, I am.
So rather than me speak, I want to pass it on to you and bring that into the conversation.
I'm still in my learning journey on shadow work. So I recently went to a sister circle. So basically it was a circle of women kind of talking about where we are at life and in life. It was a very diverse group of women from different backgrounds and stuff. It was really, really powerful. And one of the things that I walked away from is that we really should work on those sides of our personalities that we sometimes suppress, that we don't like, you know, because we've all got things about us that we might not like.
No one's perfect.
We don't want to admit we're like that. So I know, for example, that I do not like criticism. So I don't like when people criticize me.
I can see the smile.
It's good that you can even admit.
Yeah, I don't like that. And, you know, and I don't like people telling me what to do neither. So it's kind of like, you know, those are the bits about my personality. Now, I'm saying that here because I'm being very genuine and I want to be open with you.
Aware.
Yeah, so this is what I'm doing. So shadow work is working on those things. It's acknowledging these things about your personality that you may not like. And some people might have darker things in their personality. And it's and being emotionally and mentally well is dealing with those things that are in the shadow, that are dark. And a lot of people are walking around with their eyes closed. They don't know who they are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And for us to kind of live an optimal kind of life, and it's like, I think life is such a beautiful thing. Like the fact that we are here and we're experiencing life is amazing. You know, it is beautiful. We can see, we can talk, we can communicate, we can feel the breeze, we can, you know, life is a massive, beautiful experience, but a lot of people are walking around with their eyes closed and they're not experiencing life because they're worrying about what's gone in the past, they're worried about what's in the future, or they're too busy kind of suppressing who they are. So shadow work is about that, isn't it? It's about dealing with, doing the work to deal with those bits of our personality that we often suppress. So that is definitely my next thing to kind of delve into.
Yeah, it's a thing that it's an uncharted territory for a lot of people, and I feel like therapy is one thing, emotional wellness is another thing, but understanding, I only bring that up because of what you just mentioned.
What's that?
No, I was just going to ask.
I only bring that up because of what you just mentioned in terms of like past.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's to do with shadow work. I had a session on Tuesday and I was I was going over a couple of things, and it's about being in tune with yourself. So for you, Stan, for argument's sake, if I'll do a little challenge on here. If you think of something, like Jasmin just stated, she hates criticism, right? Yeah. We all have things that attach to our past where we still have that same thought process about ourselves now. Okay. Shadow work is about doing that. That may have existed then. Yeah. But understanding that may not be the version of you now, so it doesn't necessarily attach to you. Yeah. So you can disconnect from it and change your mindset about yourself or your view of yourself or how other people view you. So from that experience of Jasmin saying she doesn't like criticism, what is something that you have experienced?
I'd say so. Like basically a character flaw that I've kind of. So. When I was younger, I kind of used to get not bullied, but I noticed people would point out how I look. I used to have loads of spots. I used to be very self-conscious. I used to believe I was ugly. I said this in a past podcast, and also,
you're beautiful, by the way.
Thank you so much. I receive it. Thank you. I used to feel like I always targeted. So let me give you a practical example. Even forming this group, even coming, like just basic decisions. So we've got a group chat, all our decisions. That's where we kind of touch base with this. And a lot of simple things, I would feel like is a personal attack on myself. I'd be very, very easily offended, and everything was just personal. Just like we had a situation the other day, I had to sign some paperwork because this is a proper business. And in that paperwork, I'm reading everything, I'm scrutinizing everything. And in one part of my mind, I'm thinking this whole thing is written towards me. This is all about me, like attacking me. And then we were going backwards and forwards, we were deliberating. I was like, no, I want this changed, I want that changed. Because I all thought it was...
So you thought it was written to address you?
To oppress me.
Yeah.
And then a few days went past, and then I don't know, I think I came to myself. I don't know what state of mind I was in around then. And then I just came and I thought, you know what? Like, I'm actually being a bit difficult in this situation. And I realised this is that old thing, like always being bullied, always being attacked. My guard's always
So now
up.
you were defending yourself.
I was just in defence mode. I was just kind of suspicious, like, you know what I mean? So that's one thing about myself. I could be very suspicious.
You know, there's a lot of black people who are like that because of lots of our experiences that we've gone through. You know, discrimination, racism, prejudice, microaggressions, all of those things can make people become quite defensive. So our upbringing, childhood, like you've pointed to, so you're not any different from a lot of people out there.
Maybe, yeah. And sometimes I even see it maybe in my parents, and I think, have I inherited it? Like there's... Like I've even seen things that something can be passed through DNA genetically, some type of stresses and traumas.
Oh, don't get me there. Don't get me there. There's a really good book by a Dr. Joy DeGruy called Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. So if you're readers, read Joy DeGruy, post-traumatic, because basically what that says is that our traumas are held in our genes, and sometimes it getting passed on from generation to generation. Epigenetics.
I've seen a doctor called... Is it Dr. Frances Wellcrest Singh? I think her name is on YouTube. If you just type that in, a lady from America. I don't even know if she's still alive because the video looked quite old, and she was explaining that a lot of trauma has been passed down through slavery and stuff. So maybe that's where I've got it from. But yeah, that's my answer.
Okay.
Voice of reason, Carl.
I got a few.
No, thank you.
I got a few, to be fair. I'm working on them, but I think one big one for me is impulsiveness and low self-esteem. I don't think so much now. I think the podcast has kind of helped me in going therapy, but I don't know, even a lot of people even used to say I wouldn't talk. I never used to really make eye contact neither. I just wasn't confident in certain things. And I don't know what that was. And I felt like I was judged a lot growing up, just going through certain things. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's my ones.
You know, when you say impulsive, do you mean just go and do things without thinking about it before?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Even if it's like for example, if me and Stam would argue, I'll just block him. Like straight and just delete his number. That's just me. I'm just like everyone says it. It's not good, but that was just me. I think it's just my coping mechanism. Just out of sight, out of mind. I ain't got to deal with it anymore.
So if you look at both of those examples, sorry to cut you because I want to hear all of that. But if you look at both of those examples, you're fight and you're flat. In that scenario of if there's a challenge, you'll fight it and you'll flat.
That's a good way to put it, you know, because it's like one disagreement we had. We've had the disagreement in the group, whatever it may be. Then I'm for about 2 days. I'm trying to like reach out to this guy. Yo, I'm ringing him. Like I'm messaging I'm like, yo, I'm eager to just move forward. And he's like, I think, have I messed this up, kind of thing. And I'm feeling bad. I just wouldn't
answer the call. Yeah. I think he said something like he's trying to get a doctor's appointment with me or something like that because you can, literally. But that's one of them. But it does make sense to obviously acknowledge your flaws, I would say. Well, to be fair, so it does make sense.
Depending on how dark they are, you may need support with that, right? Yeah. So, you know, some people have gone through some really traumatic things in their past, and it might be unsafe to just kind of make them resurface without having something to hold it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You know,
what do you mean?
So you may need therapy. Do you know what I mean? You know, regular therapy with a psychotherapist or a clinical practitioner, because people have been through some very dark things. People have been abused, sexually, physically, emotionally, and just to bring up the stuff that might be manifesting now can cause a lot of pain and sorrow and
cause harm.
So you need. It's not. You shouldn't just bring things up and then think.
Therapy would give them the healthy coping mechanisms, because I suppose people can then use they might use alcohol or drugs to deal with it, because it might be so they might want to run away from it, alcohol or whatever.
Absolutely, that. So absolutely. Totally. And the body works in a very similar way. Like if there's something wrong with you, if you've got an infection or whatever, we'll get inflammation, right? Inflammation, for those of you, my husband gets inflammation, don't you? So for those of you who have inflammation in the body, it is very, very painful. Like when your glands are inflamed or your back is inflamed, it's really painful, right? That is your body, though, protecting itself.
That area.
Yeah. So what it's doing is that I'm inflaming it because I'm sending a signal to say, blood, I need you to come here to treat this. Okay. I need all of the healing genes and chemicals to heal this. So that inflammation is part of healing, but it's very painful. Yeah.
So
right?
It's kind of like an operating room is in service, kind of like saying like no one come in kind of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like I've had inflammation now, when you have swollen glands and stuff like that. All of that is to do with healing. So if you take the physical and put it into kind of an emotional sense, then if you're dealing with things that are causing a lot of pain, sometimes it might look worse before, it might be very painful then in order to do the work on it. So I think you have to do shadow work depending on how dark and traumatic your history is. I think it is important that, you get specialist support and help sometimes to go through that journey.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You'll hear people say it all the time. This is just how I am. This is me.
So they attach
the old version of themselves to themselves now,
and they can.
Come a long way and change, but they just can't shake.
Yeah.
But for
it's like them trying to normalize something, basically.
Let me ask, for what reason do you think there's a stage you can get, maybe at age or a stage at life, when this is just you? Like, like there's a saying, you can't teach an old dog new trick. Do you think there's a point where like
I think everyone
one can be
change.
just so hardened that you can't undo that? You think someone can literally just be set in their way?
No, man. Everyone has feelings and emotions. It would just take
change,
right?
But something has to change for you to change. Basically.
Okay.
Like some people are more hard and resilient in certain ways. So some people might take years to change. Some people might take a week or months. But people can change, I suppose, because unless they're not human, because we all got feelings and emotions, innit? It just how deep whatever is.
It's how the message is delivered. Because obviously, how we're talking now, this conversation's very, very free flowing. There's a lot of information.
Everyone's open, basically.
Yeah, it's not being rammed down your throat. This is what you need to do. It's just normal conversation about everything that people experience in life. People can take this, and when we chop it up, you're going to see that there's so many gems in what we're speaking about. It's natural for people to go through this, and someone who is not necessarily hard-headed, that's probably the wrong term, but someone who's so set in their ways, all it takes is for them to hear something and be like, hold on, I'm like that, but I think like this, and do you know what I mean? Like, it's got to connect.
It's awareness, innit? It's normalising something, innit? And getting rid of the stigmas.
Okay, cool. What I want to cover, though, is you talking about things being Eurocentric, and then you want to, you basically... How shall I put this? Let me just say it plain. How important is it to have a black therapist or have black support? Let's just put it, because...
I think it's very important.
Yeah,
I think for some people... Sorry, you carry on.
Because we had a guy here, K.A.S.T, big him up every time, and I asked him the same question, and he's a clinical person-centered counsellor.
Yeah.
And he said, overall, he said it can matter, but it just depends on the case. It's, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems as if maybe your standpoint is it's essential to have people that look like yourself. I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Yeah. That's why I said correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. But I want to know your standpoint.
I don't think you're wrong. I just think I just need to be clear in terms of what I'm saying. So I think it depends on you. You are your starting point. So there are some people who may feel uncomfortable about speaking to somebody who looks like them. So, some people might not want to speak to a black therapist. Some people may not want to have a counsellor who is black because it may remind them of their past, or they may feel distrusting, and that is fine, right? Okay. What I'm saying is, all right, let me give you some hard facts, and then I think that will enable you, I think, to come to what I've come to and why I've established Real Strength. Black people's mental health, the disparities is stupid. Seriously? And when I say stupid, what I mean is, in comparison to non-black people, on every single level, our outcomes are worse. So in terms of accessing mental health support services, black people are more likely to be needing specialists in crisis help and less likely to be getting help at the early help stages with the GP.
Would it be sectioning?
Yeah. 3 black men, so you guys are 3.5 times more likely to have a diagnosis of schizophrenia, right? Does that mean because we're more likely to be schizophrenic? I don't know. That begs the question. So that's the first facts. That's not Jasmin saying that. There was a study that was done, and it's called by Lampard.
When we're angry? Is it certain things to do with how we act when we're angry and our body language?
I think it's a combination of different things, I think. But I think the facts are what the facts are. Black men are more likely to be detained under the Mental Health Act than people who are not black. So they're more likely to detain you under the Mental Health Act than anybody else, right? We have less chances of, or less likely to have lower stays in hospital. So when we do become in crisis, they keep us in hospital longer. We are pathologized. We are more likely to go back into hospital because of mental health than people who are non-black, right? We are more likely to suffer depression. We are more likely to be diagnosed with clinical depression and schizophrenia. So when you think about it then, what I'm saying is, in terms of accessing mental health, our outcomes are worse. In terms of experiencing mental health services, our outcomes are worse. So we're more likely to be detained. We're more likely to stay in hospital longer, right? And then in terms of kind of the prevalence, it is worse. So what is that data telling us? Is that saying that we are people who are more mad than anybody else, or more, got more significant mental health? What does that data tell us? All I can look at that and say,
we need help.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Or what is what is it that happens before we get into crisis, right? So, you know, I watched a podcast, one of your podcasts before, and I think all three of you, I think, received talking therapy, right?
Yeah.
I applaud that, because what that is doing is saying I'm getting my help earlier. I'm not waiting until I get in crisis and then I'm on medication and then they're being hospitalizing me and then I've got a diagnosis of schizophrenia. I'm getting the help from the get-go, right? So I think that is a positive thing. So to answer your question, I think if we are more likely to speak on the conversation, if our families are more embracing, rather than saying, you can't come to my house because...
Cultural. Is that a cultural thing?
I think it is. Culture? And I can't speak on every culture, I don't know. But what I know of is that in our community, often people are ostracized. If they've got mental health problems, we're kind of like, we repel, we shun them away. Or when people have, some of us, especially men, like, is it, sometimes we don't allow our men to be vulnerable, and they have to carry a lot, right? So where does that go? Where does it go? So I think if we are open and have conversations, if you see images and pictures of other people who are going through what you're going through, if you see people speaking about it, if families are more embracing to have the conversation about it, that's what I mean about it being more open. So there's a book by, I can't remember the guy's name, but it's called White Therapy Can't Talk in Black.
Okay.
And basically what he's saying is, in this book, is that sometimes you have to understand the cultural context in which we are operating in. Sometimes you need to understand about our culture and like what we're experiencing.
Background and
Absolutely.
what may have led, what could have contributed culturally to the condition.
Absolutely.
In certain cultures, vulnerability and strength don't go hand in hand, I feel. That when you think about strength, or if you ask certain people's strength, you see it as that, for example, kids will see their dad as, he don't cry. He's just hard. Anything like this, he don't have no feeling. He has feelings, but that he's the protector. So he can never be vulnerable. If you saw your dad cry, you think, something is seriously wrong.
Yeah.
Like it's just a normal to, if you was to see your dad cry. So I feel that being vulnerable in certain communities ain't seen as strength when it is strength. So basically that's what I feel.
And the implications of that, sorry to interject, but there are implications of that. It's a bit, there's some, I think there was an inquiry, because Black women are more likely to die in childbirth than white women. And I think a lot of that comes from this view that Black women are strong, and Black women themselves often say, I'm a strong Black woman. And so when we're in pain and crying out in pain, they think, they're exaggerating, they can manage that. But actually it's a sign of something else going on. So that, how scary is that? What is it that is causing Black women to be more likely to die in childbirth than anybody else? Like these statistics point to stuff, and I'm not saying it's one thing. I think often it's a combination of a number of different things.
One question is, what's an uncomfortable truth people need to hear?
In my view, is that we have to do the work on ourselves. That is the uncomfortable truth. The problem isn't outside of us. We need to look. We have to look inside.
Okay, cool. I agree. You know what, Jasmine? I agree that people need to do the work on themselves. And what I would say is, growing up, I saw the older generation blaming other other people, things, places, just always pointing the finger outwards. So are you just saying that there should be less blame game and look more within? I
am saying that. I'm saying that the only people we've got control over is ourselves.
Okay.
And if we really want to thrive and experience this gift of life, then we need to be prepared to do the work on ourselves.
Like Michael Jackson, what's the song? I'm starting with a
Man in the Mirror.
I'm asking him to change his ways. Okay, cool. And
we got Michael.
I've got a question for you. What does strength look like in 2026?
I think the answer to the last question, doing the work on yourself.
Doing the work on yourself.
You have to do the work on yourself. We've got to open up our eyes, and we need to, there are so many things that we can do, which doesn't cost a lot of money. Speak to people, people who are like-minded like you, who you can really track with and who you can really get something from. Access some of the tools that are available to you, being with yourself, sit with yourself, limit the amount of rubbish that is on social media. Limit that time, because we are only a product of what we take in, right? So if you bake a cake and you put rubbish ingredients in the cake, then the cake is not going to taste very good. And we are exactly the same. Whatever you put in to yourself, what information you're feeding yourself, what food you're feeding yourself, the things that you do always all reflect on how you then present and show up as a person. So put good things in.
Okay, cool. Well, I think an hour wasn't enough. I could, honestly, we could have went for another hour, because I
feel like I've learned so much. Again, I just feel
like
I was in a lesson.
Like, we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Watch this back. Like, comment, subscribe. Keep watching this episode, you will learn.
Yeah, there's so much stuff, and do you know what? Want to appreciate. Thank you for coming down. We appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. Genuinely, thank you for inviting me.
It's been like you're just sitting there in your presence, your aura. You're a powerful person, and I think our community needs more teachers, like leaders, and people just to stand up and people just need to just being in your presence. I can tell you're educated, well versed, and you know what you're speaking about, and you speak what you know about, and you got a lot to offer. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of ignorance in not just our community, in society in general, and with people like yourselves, we can start like. I don't know the right wording because I'm on the spot here, but there's a lot of ignorance, and you are someone that is clearly not ignorant. I can take a lot from that. It makes me want to know more. Like you're referring to a lot of facts, a lot of studies, a lot of, you know what I mean? It's not it's not hearsay. It's not just your opinion. You're not really giving your opinion once, really.
Your knowledge is admirable.
Yeah, and basically. I think that's important. Our community hasn't got enough leaders, so I'll round it up. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jasmin.
Thanks for having me, guys.
How do people reach out to you?
So go to my website, wearestrength.com. There's lots of stuff on there. I'm on social media as well.
Instagram?
Instagram and Facebook.
And what is the app for Instagram?
I think it's We Are Strength 2025, I think.
We'll get them.
We'll put it in the bio.
Yeah. Thank you. No, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. It's been really, I felt really comfortable, and the energy is really positive and good. And just keep on doing what you're doing. I think we need more black men in this space who are talking about things which is going to help people and not things that are going to turn people in a different way. So well done, and thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So that's a wrap. So I'm Cal.
And I'm Stam. And this is the KAST, Cal and Stam Talks. I'm the voice of reason. And today we had the lovely Jasmin. I'm overwhelmed. And I'm grateful. I'm leaving this podcast today. I'm feeling grateful.
I'm feeling loud.
And inspired. Sorry, before I go, what's that book? You've got a book there. What is that?
It's just my notebook.
Oh, it's your notebook.
Yeah.
Okay. I was hoping you wrote a book. And then you was going to promote it.
No, it's just my notebook. I just thought in case I needed to kind of refer to any factual stuff.
Come prepared.
I've got it in my book. I didn't need it because you guys kind of made me feel quite good to just flow. So I didn't need it.
So you came ready for war.
Yeah.
Never war. Came for peace.
All right, cool. Like, share, subscribe. Send this to your neighbor. Send this to your friend. Please, we need to get the word out there. We're growing.
Literally, season 2 soon coming to an end. But like what Stam said. Also listen to it on Apple Music, Spotify. All the podcasts, Spotify's. And we've got much more to come.
Big up.